The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, UNU Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
No! I'm going down to Alphabet Street. I'm gonna crown this girl that I meet. I'm gonna talk.
Good evening, everybody. This is Kathy, and it is time once again for that effing F word. And we've got a lot of F words to make up for since I wasn't able to speak last week and was under the weather, but now I'm kind of floating. There's an F word for you. Above ground again. So, everybody, once again, we got Mr. Wingonomics himself, Mark Wingo. Hi, Mark. How you doing?
I'm good.
That's good.
Feeling better?
That's good. Thank you. And you know what? We have a really great guest on tonight. I'm really excited. Number one F word that I think of when I think of him is friend. Darrell Thompson. Welcome to the F word.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. You know, when you get to beat, here's another F word, 50, you know,
Right on.
staying up after 9 o'clock is kind of like, wow, how did I do that? Because we get up so early still. We're still working, but we get a little bit more tired faster.
That's true.
That's
true.
true.
You hit 50. That's it's about the deadline, the witching hour. I was just about to start thinking about turning in, and I got the message that we were on tonight. So I'm glad you got that to me a little bit before I went upstairs and hit the hay.
I know, right? And then once we do hit the hay, it's not like, you know, when our kids were younger and we'd hear every noise. So if they're trying to sneak in, because now when we're out, we're out. I don't know what
That's
it
right.
is. I don't know what it is. But, Darrell, Mark, you two have never met in person, have you?
Yeah, we got a few times in person. Yeah, a couple different events. And
Yes.
in the office.
The Red Hawk event? Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I just introduced you to
Been a
everybody,
while.
so.
It's been a year.
It has. But no, I love that you share the common friend. Well, besides me, because I'm kind of, everything's like 9 degrees of separation from me, not Kevin Bacon. But,
Right, that's true.
right? I even have a friend that has a pet pig named Kevin Bacon. How weird is that? But, no. So, Darrell, you know now, but everybody doesn't know where Mark grew up, St. Paul, Minnesota. But Mark, tell everybody one of your childhood friends.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Kathy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who was your childhood friend that you share in common?
Yeah, good old Thomas DePay, St. Paul Johnson legend. That's my name for about 30 years. Johnson legend and University of Minnesota legend, and then he got drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles and then finished up with the Minnesota Vikings. And I've known Thomas, started recruiting him back in when he was a senior or junior in high school. And a young man I'm really proud of. He's a mentee of mine when he was in school. And, obviously a good friend of Mr. Wingo, so he's always kept good company.
That's so neat. So, I mean, to have somebody like that, Darrell, as a mentee and have him succeed, I mean, that's a huge success for you. And we're going to talk about what you do now as far as mentors and mentees go, but what's your favorite memory of him? When did you know he would make it?
I felt like he had a really good opportunity when he was in college. He got hurt a couple times, but he had the physical gifts, and Thomas is a hard worker, and he was physical. And, you know, as he got a little bit older, he was versatile. He could play a couple different positions in the backfield, and big and strong, you know, and you're always looking for guys like that on the pro level, anything, you know, basketball, football, tennis, whatever that might be. And he got an opportunity, and he made the most of it. He had one pretty devastating injury. He had a dislocated hip on the field.
Oh.
So he had some tough breaks, but he was able to I think he got 4 or 5 years in, so he had a nice career and doing well. But my favorite memory of him was probably a letter he wrote to me probably about 4 years ago, just thanking me for how hard I was on him when he was in college, and I probably should have continued to be that hard on when he was in the NFL too. But I kind of figured he made it, so I just left him alone for the most part. But he's doing well, and he's taking care of his kids and taking care of his family. So I'm proud of what he's doing.
Oh, that's so nice.
Absolutely.
Well, then, Mark, I mean, you stay in touch with him too, right?
Yeah, quite a bit. Every once a week we on the phone and talk for hours.
Aw. No, and then,
Yeah.
What was funny because, Mark was doing this program, Darrell, it was called After the Game, and it was with the Minnesota Lynx, and he had asked me to be involved in it, and I came out there, and that's when I met Thomas, and I asked him, I said, are you going to Brett Favre's retirement game? And he goes, no, I didn't know about that. Who's all going to be there? And I opened up, the brochure or the flyer, whatever it was. And he goes, oh, I know Darrell Thompson. And so just met him. And my girlfriend Amy and I said, well, we're going. He goes, well, I want to go too. So we invited him drive because he had a rental car. And we road tripped it down there to see you.
I remember that.
And Griff was down there, and he was just such an enjoyable person, and rolls his eyes at me for some reason. I don't know. But I love that. I didn't even think about that when I was talking to you about being on the show. I forgot that you had that bond. The two of you, both of them. I mean, and he's such a nice guy. I mean, with my Lyme disease, he checked on me and wants to cure me and told me to go vegan. So here I go. Yay. I'm kind of missing steak a little bit, but feel a little better. But okay, Darrell Thompson, this is your life. This is your life on the F word. But first of all, what I want to find out from you are some of your favorites. That's an F word. Favorites. And one thing I want you to think about is when you're talking about different things, if you notice a special F word that comes out of your mouth and you think about it, just call it out. But okay, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food would probably be steak and lobster. That combination would be my favorite combination of food.
Favorite restaurant?
J.D. Hoyt's in Minneapolis. It's my favorite restaurant.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with J.D. Hoyt's. Absolutely not. Pork chops, steak, the whole deal, the buddy bowl. You can't go wrong.
I've had the buddy bowl.
Remember when we went to J.D. Hoyt's
after the game? Yes. And so that was with Larry McKenzie and his wife and Thomas and John Thomas. Yep. That was a good time, and I had my first buddy bowl because that was my first time going there. And actually, that was the last time I went there. That's a shame. All right. So J.D. Hoyt's favorite restaurant, favorite movie.
Rocky 3 is my favorite movie. Rocky 3 it has everybody in it. So you have obviously Clubber Lang. You also have Apollo, and you also have Ivan Drago, and it's one of the last times that Rocky is even. I think it's never totally believable, but at least it's somewhat believable. And that just in the fact that Apollo ends up training, that's one of the theme song Rocky, and also the Eye of the Tiger is in that song. In that movie.
And Mickey.
Yes.
It's a really sad thing, but okay, so I don't know, Darrell, if I told you about this, but I'm involved in this, it's called Money Round Boxing, and it's a new boxing league that's out that is really going to rival, like the NFL or NBA for that matter, but for boxing, and so it's an actual league, but I've told them, I said, everything I know about boxing I learned from Rocky, and they shake their heads, but it's true. I mean, that's pretty much what I know. Or no, that's pretty much it. That's it. I did run up the Rocky stairs. I did that once.
Well, there's a lot that can be learned from Rocky about grit and determination for any individual.
Mm-hmm.
That's Rocky to a T. I mean, I think that's why he makes the movie so lovable, even though they're borderline a little bit difficult to believe. They are inspirational and make you like, let me get off the couch and go run or jump or do some sit-ups or something.
I know, right? No, I ran up those Rocky stairs in Philadelphia. My son told me, Mom, if you do nothing else, you have to do that. So I handed some strange lady my phone and I ran it the whole way.
Yeah.
Pretended like I could breathe, but that was about it. But okay.
Did you throw any car batteries at anyone when you were up at the top?
No, I didn't. I refrained.
All right, that's good.
Okay, here's another one. How about a favorite? Because everybody, I don't know if you know this, but Darrell Thompson is kind of famous. He played for the Green Bay Packers. So what's your favorite fan moment?
I think it would probably be just coming out of the stadium. It was a great. So as you get older, you reflect, and you come out of the stadium in college. It's a big deal, and you come out of the stadium in the pros. It's to be a big deal, and you understand realize the childhood dream. I grew up watching Earl Campbell and Walter Payton was my idol, and Eric Dickerson, and then I'm jogging on the field, and there's Joe Montana and Roger Craig and the 49ers, and we're going to play against them. So it was, to be able to come out of the tunnel in the NFL was a dream come true.
That's so crazy. Well, that's something else I wanted to talk to you about, too, was your childhood. You grew up in Rochester. And how old were you when you decided you wanted to play football?
I was young, I think I was pretty good at it, and I was running around and kind of scoring touchdowns, and I liked basketball a lot, and I was decent at that. And but the sport that the coaches were coming to talk to me about was football, and that's where kind of the big name coaches were coming. With Lou Olds and Tom Osborne and Barry Switzer. I was getting a letter from Earl Bruce at Ohio State. So
wow,
wow, this is really cool. And of course, like a knucklehead, I was just putting them under my bed. I wasn't doing anything with them. My mom was like, "No, we gotta get these out and look at it, talk to these people." And so that was the process for me. And my mom and dad were involved in it too. I mean, they were, at least when I think about, ask the same question when you go somewhere, try to put together. There weren't really spreadsheets back then, but at least put together your thoughts and think about where you want to be. Where you want to play football, and what the guys are like, where each place are, and let's make an educated decision.
So, we know you chose Minnesota, but why?
I chose it because I thought it was the best place for me in case football didn't work out. I didn't know anyone that was playing pro football at that time.
Okay.
And I think you pick a place where you feel like it's going to be a good fit. I like the guys. I like the community. I thought it was a tremendous business community. And it was and is a tremendous business community. You want to look at the places that I had it narrowed down to. I had it narrowed down to Minnesota, Iowa, and Nebraska at the end of the day. And that's where I was going to be at one of those places. And I can't think of a better place to be right now than I wouldn't want to be in one of those places right now. And I think they're both nice places, but this is a better place.
Well, and I love how you kept
I have
it.
a question for you.
Yep.
Sure.
You ever have a plan B? I heard you say you picked, University of Minnesota because it was, the safest option in case or whatever. Did you ever have a plan B that wasn't an option or didn't work out for you?
Yeah, I think, Mark, my plan was college anyway. I was going to go to college, and football was what I was going to do while I was in college. So I had no plan of playing professional football. At that point, all I knew was that I was going to play college football. So then I was like, well, I'm going to school. So, I was going to school. I went to school for almost 4 years, and then I left to go play professional football. And then even every offseason I worked to try to figure out what I want to do when football's over, because I know there's no 40 and 50-year-old football players. There's probably 0.0001%
was your favorite job during the summer? What job did you not like? This career is not for me.
One thing I didn't like, I did 2 summers for a construction company, and I laid sod, and I had to throw railroad ties. I had to run a chainsaw. I did not like that. I thought it was dangerous. I felt like things were I could chop my finger off or my foot off by accident. So those were things I did not like, and I really loved working with kids and with youth. I saw the difference that a positive adult role model could make with the young person, and that's how I got to where I'm at today, and I'm still there. I mean, this is like almost 30 years ago now when I was volunteering, when I was playing ball, and I'm still doing the same thing now.
Wow. That's wonderful, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But now, first, before we do that, because before you started that, or maybe right around that same time, let's talk about your family. So you mentioned your mom and your dad. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I do, yeah. Thank you for asking. My brother in Los Angeles, and I have a sister that lives in D.C., so we're spread out all the way across the country.
Oh, what do they do?
Yeah. My sister works for hotels in D.C. She's in the administration at hotels in D.C. And my brother is a financial planner and an ordained minister in California.
Wow, what part of California?
Right at LA proper, right by the airport. He lives probably about 3 or 4 miles away from the airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to D.C. November 1st through the 4th. I don't know if I ever told you my dad was a guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And my brother and I are going out there with my mom and dad for a Tomb Guard reunion. And I'm excited because I haven't been there with my parents since I was probably in junior high. So It's nice. Dad's 80 now, so it's important to go.
Very, very important. I know things, the older you get, the more you realize that time that your parents should be appreciated.
Definitely. Okay, so that's your immediate family, but even more immediate is your own family under your roof, which they're kind of not under your roof anymore because you're an empty nester. But how old were you? Your beautiful wife, Stephanie. So how old were you when you met?
We were in college. We met, my sister had a volleyball game, and my wife was friends with my sister. And we were, I had a football game. I asked my coach if I could stay and watch my sister's volleyball game, and I did that. And then my sister said, "Do you want to come on the volleyball team for the game?" And I don't know anybody who would turn down an opportunity to go hang out with the volleyball team. So I went with the volleyball team, and that's how I met my wife.
Wow. And then did you decide to date right then and there? How'd that happen?
Yeah, we started dating then. It was long distance for probably 2.5 years, and then we just got closer and closer. And then when I was playing pro ball, we were living together about 99% of the time. And we had a child about 2 years later, and then we got married about 2 years after that.
Okay, that's awesome. And then those children, because how many years has it been that you've been married?
We've been married for 23 years.
Good for you. That's so good because in this day and age, let's see, my marriage lasted 22. Well, actually, it only lasted 15. Took that long to get the divorce, but I mean, most people don't stick it out. So
no, it's hard. It's certainly hard, but we've been blessed. I'm lucky. I married a great lady. So
yes, you definitely have. So tell us about those kids.
We have 4 kids. We have our oldest daughter graduated from Madison. She was a volleyball player there, and really nice career. I'm very proud of her.
What is she doing now?
What's that?
What's
she
she
plays
do?
volleyball.
Oh, okay. Out of college. Wow.
Graduated about 3 years ago, played 1 year overseas, and now she's back here working for a volleyball service. And our youngest daughter actually started out at Virginia Commonwealth and ended at San Diego State.
Oh, wow.
And played there and enjoyed it, and she graduated. Now she's all done, and she's actually in Virginia right now with her boyfriend she met a couple years ago, and I don't know, we're going to get her back. We're working on it. I don't know if she's getting back to home. So
And you're,
we'll see. And then we have two more in college. We have one boy that's at the University of Minnesota. He's a football player, and then another, our youngest boy is a basketball player. He's at the University of Indiana.
wow.
We're empty. You know, we have the wonderful dog,
Yeah, what kind of dog is he?
Australian Shepherd.
Wow.
Mix.
Oh,
Aussie Doodle.
cute, cute. No, and
Yeah.
I met your kids, well, at the game when Thomas and Amy and I went. And I mean, absolutely beautiful, polite. You guys did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think Dominique and True were there. Yeah, that was Dominique's home ground. That's where she definitely that. So she knew everybody there. Yeah.
Great. So, University of Minnesota. You went there. You played there. You graduated with what major?
I never graduated. I left to play football, and I started playing football, and I came back until we had a baby, and then after we had the child, it just didn't fit for me to continue to play football and go to school, take care of a child. So I played. I just worked and I volunteered in off season, and then I started kind of volunteering, and it grew to a full-time job, and then I've been working at Boulder Options for 23 years now. So
That's
I've gone back to
amazing.
school a couple times, and I do plan on going back, but I've not finished yet.
But we learn every day, and I think your college is learning from the kids that you're teaching and mentoring more than anything. So, now, Mark, you had some questions for Darrell that you told me you wanted to ask him. Are you still there?
Yeah. My question was more of the transition phase. I meet with a lot of former athletes and talk to them, and that transition seems like it's a hell of a transition. Tell us about your transition from when you say, I'm done with this game of football. How did I know that was, when was your last game, and how did you handle that and move forward into that career?
Well, I mean, I think most football players get cut a couple times at the end of their career. So I got cut like 3 or 4 times at the end of my career. You're kind of hanging on, trying to get that last couple paychecks in, and then and most guys have, it's a physical reason. I mean, I retired because I have arthritis. I had arthritis in my hip. It was going to cause me to have it replaced. I had it replaced about 5 years ago. So when you hit that mark, and one thing I always try to preach to you guys is you got to try to find something that you like or love while you're playing ball. I said you don't want to wait until you're in and you're just kind of sitting around like, oh, what am I going to do? You need to try and have some failure while you're trying to figure out exactly what it is that you want to do. So you should try being a life insurance salesman, try being a stockbroker, try being a doctor or a lawyer, at least go sit in their office, try being a reporter, whatever it is. Go get involved in that environment for 3, 4, or 5 days or a couple of weeks and find your passion. Yeah. Now I know what year was your last year? 94. Okay. So back when you were playing, I'm pretty sure the word brand was not even a word that you knew of. I don't think it was really popular until mid-2000. Were you aware of the impact that you had off the field, and how did that really, create opportunity for you when you said, I'm done with this game and I really want to focus on monetizing who I am and create something for my family? I'm talking before the Board of Option days. I think what you have and what I've always thought that I had or anyone else has is a reputation. I think you just want to have a reputation of a guy. I mean, you might be late, you might not be at everything you're going to be at every once in a while, but if you have a reputation that you're a stand-up person, that you'll be there, that reputation is going to precede you previous to LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and all the other social media things, because those are just a phase. You hope that you would be able to have the reputation where someone's excited to be around you and want to be around you.
Right. Well, that's really
which is similar to the brand. Would you say, Mark?
That's what I was going to say, because nowadays I see that current players, they're leaning more on the brand with the social media, and then off the social media they're so much different than who they are online. But a lot of the older players that I work with and I've encountered, they are just who they are. I mean, social media, they're the same person offline as well. So, one thing about social media that I'm saying is it's not authentic. And I appreciate the guys who do utilize social media to maximize opportunities, but at the same time, life offline is more important. Like you said, that integrity piece is, to off the field. So, yeah, that's good stuff. What was the biggest lesson that you learned from a team sport of football that you utilize now in building your business and your brand and your company?
I think it's preparation and homework. I mean, every once in a while you can kind of fly by the seat of your pants if it's something you feel like you're comfortable or well versed in, but I found that in my professional football career, if I was going to be successful, I needed to be prepared. I needed to know what I needed to do. I needed to know what other guys needed to do that were on the same side of the ball. And I also needed to know responsibilities of the other team every once in a while, at least know where their points of pressure and leverage and what they were trying to accomplish. And that would allow me to be more successful with my job. And I feel the same way now with my life and business and even politics. I watch, both news sources. I like to see what CNBC says. I like to see what Fox News says. And it's always an interesting contrast.
It really is. I was noticing that this weekend. My dad is major Fox News guy. And I was like, no, this can't be everything. Yes, it is.
Yeah, there's always two sides to the equation, and I think that's what we get now. I mean, it's unfortunately you're getting a biased opinion on both sides right now, so it's something we just have to work through.
Well, and social media can be your enemy too. I mean, when you think about a lot of the public figures, political, sports, entertainment, any of that. I mean, you put anything out there that's not quite right, it sticks with you so much faster. It's faster than a reputation. It hits you so quickly, and people are very quick to believe things, even if they're not true. What they call it, false news. It's crazy now, but I think number one, what you said, Darrell, with the reputation, being the person that you are. I mean, the person that I met, you've been the same person all the time, everywhere. You're approachable, you're friendly, you're matter of fact, you're business, you're fun. You're all of that. And I think that's why people gravitate to you and want to work with you and want to help your organization too.
Well, it's more fun to be like that, and it also makes it easier if you do make a mistake, then you can come back and say, I was wrong. It's also just important because it's for me, it's just a healthier way to live. At least I feel like I can just lay my head down. It's not worried that someone's like, no one's looking for me or anything like that.
Right. So let's talk about a little bit more about the transition from the game, like Mark was talking about, because, obviously, we've talked about this, Darrell. Obviously, Mark and I have a lot. But the financial side of things, leaving football, remember we had that focus group. Ooh, there's an F word. Focus. And talked about, if you knew then what you know now, what would you do differently about your finances? What would that be?
Good question. I think that I would do more research on any investment that I got into. The older I get, the more I do research on, and we're willing to throw around, $10,000 or $20,000 when you get done playing ball. And as you get older, you realize that's a tremendous amount of money to just throw around. So as you get older, you learn to do more homework. So you see, you got people, you ask questions, you do research. The internet's another good place for research, at least some basic research on, is this person real? Does that actually exist versus just kind of, throwing, sometimes good money after bad.
Right, exactly. Did you make any bad decisions with some NFL money? Like any of those foolish, kind of frivolous, another F word, fancies. Ooh, I'm coming out with a bunch of them. That, you just threw your money away at, like $10,000.
Yeah, I did. I did, yeah. And I think that one of the main things that was the interesting thing, I lost a pretty healthy chunk of money, almost a little over 50 grand, so it was painful on this. And if you get into a business, and that's why I tell a young man or a young lady that you need to know when you can get your money back, how much is at risk, and then what's the exit strategy for the business. So you're just investing in the business to grow it? Are you investing in the business? You obviously want your money back, and you prefer probably to own a little piece of the company after you earn your money back, then watch it grow. Versus just kind of, I'm just going to invest in a barber shop or a restaurant, which is about the worst thing. It wasn't a restaurant. It was like a real estate development piece, but we didn't own enough. We didn't own enough of it, and I was like, that's my mistake in hindsight. And we owned it. I'd be really, really sitting pretty right now, but we didn't own it, so we were leased out the space, and it just got to be unmanageable. Yeah.
So, I have something I just touched on briefly with you today at our meeting, but an opportunity to help people that are starting businesses or getting into businesses. And Mark works with a lot of small businesses, but being able to learn how to actually build business credit or obtain funding, access to capital without using your own personal credit, your own personal social security number. And I think that's going to be something that's really helpful with a lot of the people that we all know and that we all work with and that we want to start working relationships. So stay tuned to that. I have more information. I actually have a lunch and learn training how we can impact a lot of different lives. And because what they say with the NFL, what is it, 78% of them are broke within 5 years? A lot of it's
like that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, Darrell, is because of the restaurants or, investments. And here I'm going to help Uncle Joe open a barber shop or whatever, and they don't get the return on investment that they thought. But they also are taking that money out of their own pockets when they can actually be doing it on the business side, opening up an LLC. And that's Mark's area of expertise. In fact, Mark, tell Darrell a little bit about what you're doing with your business, what you've got going on.
To what capacity? Are you talking about on the...
Oh, your tax offices. Yes, it's crazy.
Oh. Well, yeah. So basically, back in 2000 and I believe it was 12, I was just a few years into my insurance career and was looking for ways to grow my insurance practice and get it from more clients. And that's where I stumbled upon how to start a tax business and grow your business. So I jumped into that, and just a few years after that, I was approached by a few individuals who were interested in getting into the tax business. And literally, I turned them down because I had no idea what I was doing as far as teaching them how to start a tax pro. Like you said, doing research and Googling some stuff, I ended up finding a software developer out of California who builds tax software and resells it and things like that. So we own our own private label tax software. I took time and put together a training manual and start franchising my tax business.
F-word.
And today we have franchising. There you go. And today we have well over 100 tax offices in 15 states.
Isn't that crazy?
And with those yeah. So it grew tremendously, and we also are integrating our tax officers and our personal company in and with the financial planning side of things. So we're leveraging the tax side of our business to get into more qualified financial planning clients, and we're leveraging those financial planning clients and clients to teach in entrepreneurship. And with that, we're going into the bookkeeping, the accounting, and make sure people are not just starting businesses. We're teaching how to build corporations, something that's builds generational wealth, opposed to just being self-employed. Right.
Which leads me over to something else, financial literacy, and that's something that I had talked to Darrell about. And with Boulder Options now, Darrell, I really want to dig into Boulder Options because I want everybody to know what Boulder Options is all about, what you've done, how you've grown, everything that you've done. Tell me some of the stories of some of the kids, where you're at, all that good stuff. So it is the Darrell stage. Now go.
Well, I mean, Boulder Options started out when Minneapolis was known as Murderapolis about 25 years ago.
Gosh, I remember that.
And, yeah, there was newspaper articles on it. Sharon Sells-Belton was our mayor, and the Minneapolis JCs got together with Operation De Novo, which is a diversion agency, and the Minnesota Distance Running Association. So let's try to start this little pilot program. A gentleman by the name of Bill Steele read about our running magazine, and we started out with 6 kids. This was back in about 1992, somewhere in there, 91, 92 is where the program started about 25 years ago.
Wow.
And started with those 6 kids in a pilot group and ran a 3-month program. And I was a volunteer speaker in that program, and I was again the next year similarly. And then that next year when I got done playing football, I started working part-time, and it grew to a full-time job. And I was the first full-time employee with Boulder Options, and now we have almost 15 full-time employees in an office in Rochester and an office, our headquarters in Minneapolis, and we serve kids in Minneapolis, called in Rochester, 1-year programming, and 75 to 100 new kids per year. So have about 400 kids in our alumni. We speak to another maybe almost 3,000 kids per year with talk about sportsmanship, nutrition, financial literacy, the importance of being a good person. Those are the types of topics that we cover when we talk to kids as well. So we're busy.
I love that.
Making a big impact on kids, and mostly in Minnesota. Every once in a while we might get into Wisconsin or something like that, but the majority of the kids we deal with are in Minnesota.
So tell me about those first 6 kids. How old are they now? Would they be late 20s?
It's 25 years ago. Well, they're older than that.
Oh my God, they're in their 30s.
Yeah, they're usually into their early to mid 30s.
Wow.
25 years ago. So just a handful, but those kids have been around. I mean, so I've been to a couple of the weddings and some of the open houses for the births of their children. And I've seen a lot of impact. We have one young man that went 2 tours in Iraq and 2 tours in Iran and came back and got married and had some kids. So we have some, just good stories about kids that were. And he became he went in the military because his mentor was in the military. He was just very, very passionate and learned a lot from his mentor. His mentor was really hard on him, but he also was passionate about, being disciplined, and that military background worked really well for this young man, and he's a successful young man right now.
Oh, wow. Darrell, you know how much I love that. And I've been blessed to have you invite me to graduation, and there was the one that I went to, there was a little boy who was doing poorly in school, getting in trouble and everything. And then once he was working with his mentor, he ended up he got to speak in front of Congress.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he's done that a few times.
I mean,
I haven't seen him for a little while, but he's a great young man, and I remember that story because he got caught, I think, stealing someone else's cell phone at school. And
yes,
that's how he got plugged into our program. And the guy, you need to get around something good. We don't just want to send you to juvenile court. So yeah, he got referred to us and had a really, really good run in our program, and I imagine he's probably still engaged.
Wow. I wonder how old is he getting ready to graduate soon?
I don't know. I don't know exactly where every kid's at.
Yeah,
So
well, I'm going to put you to task. I'm kidding. Yeah, you
well,
can't.
I'll find out because I think about him because I see him. He's pictured because he wore a suit to his graduation. And he wore a suit when he testified at Congress, and he spoke at one of our dinners. So he wouldn't be really hard for me to track down if I put a little bit of effort into it. I could probably find it.
I would love that because that stuck with me. And then there was like the parents that got up and thanked you because a lot of kids don't get into their trouble because they have bad parents per se. Their parents are busy working, trying to make ends meet. And I remember one of the dads getting up and just thanking you so much because he couldn't be there because he had to work. And I mean, I cried through the whole thing. I remember that I was just like, oh my gosh, you think about everything you take for granted. And if you can just make a difference in one life, I mean, just that one life, I mean, it just touches another life and another life and another life and so on and so on. And I want you to tell me more about the mentors and how you find the mentors, what kind of qualities you look for, because I'm going to be reaching out to people. I just know the difference that it's made in my youngest son's life having a great organization to back him while I was going through my divorce. So what do you look for, Darrell?
Well, number one, we look for in a mentor is compassionate about kids, someone who cares, someone that's willing to get involved in the life of a young person. So that's the number one thing, and then having a good background. I mean, we're going to support them. We're going to give you the tools to be successful with the mentor, with the mentee in our organization. So that's the number one thing that we are going to offer the kids and the mentors that are involved in our program, and then do our activities. So they're going to run, they're going to bike, we have tutoring, we have homework, we have a healthy habits curriculum, they're going to do the yoga, they're going to be, they're going to play freeze tag, they're going to go to Vikings games, the Gophers games, the walk to the Guthrie. So we're bombarding these kids with as many healthy activities as possible. We set one physical goal, one educational goal, and then one goal that they set on their own. So we're a goal-setting, hyper-focused, very intentional mentoring program.
So do you train the mentors first before you put them with the kids? How does that all work?
Yeah, we do. So the mentors will go through a driving check, a background check, a reference check, and then they'll do 2 interviews with our outreach department. And between those 2 interviews, you get a really good feeling for the likes and dislikes, the passions that they have, and we hope to match them with the mentee that has similar likes and dislikes. And that doesn't always happen, like right down to the kid wants to be an attorney, the next one attorney, but we do try to match people with similar interests and then try to prepare them so that they're ready for anything that might happen or anything that might come up.
Well, okay, so one of the things you brought up, so background check. So you can't really be hanging out with a felon, right?
No, you probably don't want to be hanging out with a felon. I think the main thing is that you have a clean record, that you have a good driving record, no major blips on your radar. There are certain exceptions, so we've overlooked things and not overlooked, but we have made accommodations for someone that in the past that maybe had something that happened, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, or if they tell us in advance, hey, this happened, this is what happened, and they explain the situation to us, and we can make couple calls and verify that. But if that person says it versus someone who doesn't. We had one guy who, he liked to fight when he was young, so he had, like 2 or 3, disorderly conducts on his record that were like 8 or 9 years old. He mentored for us 3 times. He was phenomenal because he pretty much knew exactly where our kids were. He goes, hey, no, you can't do that. We don't. You can't solve all your problems with your kids. So,
well, and I would think sometimes people that have gone through some experiences are great mentors because it's like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Don't do this. But then again, I mean, it's You can get people with a stellar background and they're not the greatest people and you just don't know about it. So it's literally, I think you guys do a great job in getting the right people. And I mean, have you had any bad experiences?
No, we haven't, knock on wood.
All right, I'm knocking.
But
yeah,
but we, we're certainly as thoughtful and careful because our kids are our most valuable resource.
They are.
Yeah, I would be heartbroken and sick if something happened to one of the kids in our program. So it's something we take extremely seriously, and we operate under all the best practices of Mentor, the national organization here in the Twin Cities, and do our absolute best to make a good match and have a healthy match and have good relationships.
Darrell, if you were to say what's the one thing that your organization, Boulder Options, needs more than anything else, what would it be?
We need more mentors. We need more people to take 1 or 2 hours out of their week and get involved in the life of a young person. If we're going to solve what ails our nation right now, from Florida to California to New York to Seattle, we've got to do one person at a time, and our kids are the future.
Well, one of the things that you said today, too, that really stuck with me was how much it costs to incarcerate someone. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about that. I mean, the cost of a life of crime for a young person today is $2.5 to $3.5 million.
Million. Mark, did you hear that?
Dollars. Yeah. It's significant.
Did we?
Mark's got us on mute.
Mark must be. But.
No, I'm listening. I'm just listening.
No, so $2.5 million, and when you could take an hour and a half a week to 2 hours and prevent that. I mean, because that's our tax money, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's our tax money. That's community costs. It's court costs. It's hard cost of someone being locked up. I mean, locked up per year is at in our cheapest state, it's around $70,000. In our most expensive state, it's around $150,000 per year to be locked up. So you get up to $1 million pretty quick when you're involved in a life of crime.
Oh my gosh!
So it's not a. I mean, so to spend just say $10,000 on a young person, I'd say Boulder Options is about a third of that. To spend $10,000 on a young person is an extremely good investment. Where you're going to save you'll save the community $1.5 to $3 million per youth.
No, I mean that's staggering, and more people need to know that. Mark, being from St. Paul, you still have a lot of friends back there, right?
I do.
See, I'm putting him on the spot, Darrell. This is what I do. So you've got connections in St. Paul, probably in Minneapolis too, that I am sure would be some excellent mentors. So I'm going to ask you to reach out to at least 5 people this week and get them in touch with Darrell. Is that okay, Darrell?
That's totally fine with me. I love it.
Is that okay, Mark? Look at me do that to you.
I can do it. I can do it. I got a few friends already, I think, connected to your program.
Oh, you do?
I can reach out to them if you want.
I love it.
That would be so wonderful. I mean, just you know what? Let me ask you. What's the minimum age?
21.
Okay.
You have to be 21 to be a mentor in our program. So I mean, we take kids that are just finished up with college, and a lot of times just early on in your life and relationships. I mean, it's a really critical time. And but for you to get involved in the life of a young person, the kids you're going to be working with, they're 10, 11, and 12 years old. So it's an early age and a great time to get involved in the life of a young person.
Excellent. And you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to offer up my 23-year-old son. He doesn't know it yet, but he works. He's a preschool teacher. So this week he was all weepy and teary-eyed because the little ones were graduating, and I know how he realizes just how important it is. But I think he is at a preschool in downtown Minneapolis. So I mean, typically the kids that you're working with, like if he's in Minneapolis, they're typically downtown, right? Not in the suburbs. Am I correct?
We'll do first ring suburbs, so we might get a little bit into Richfield and Crystal and New Hope, but primarily it's South Minneapolis, North Minneapolis, and then first ring suburbs of the Crystal, and the same thing with St. Paul, mostly kind of St. Paul proper,
Okay.
a little bit into that Frogtown area because we had an office over there for 6 or 7 years.
Okay. And so then do they come to the Boulder Options office to be with the kids, or how does that all work? Do they go off and do the different activities, or do they meet at your office on certain times?
The mentors, when they do their activity together, will actually go to the mentee's house. They'll get in the mentor's car and they'll go to a park, or they'll go to a YMCA. They'll do their physical exercise or activity, then they'll drop them back off at home, and then about every other week they'll come to the building for an activity for nutrition, financial literacy. We have a tutoring night a couple nights a week that's available, and on the weekends we have rides and runs where the mentors will do bike rides or run on the weekend with the mentees.
I love that. So both men and women.
Yes, we do. We need both men and women to our program. We get more, a little bit more women volunteer than men, so we're always looking for more of both those. The more, it's better.
All right. Well, I'm going to commit. Let's see, it's September. I'm gonna get you 5. And Mark's going to get you. And Mark's going to get you 5.
Give me 5 before the end of the year, then we'll be about halfway to the goal that we're trying to achieve by the end of the year. We're trying to raise some awareness and get some kids met before the end of the year this year. It'd be a big deal for us going into the fourth quarter.
Well, and too, with Robert Griffith Foundation, the Zooks bags, we want to be let people that Darrell, that will donate Zooks bags to Boulder Option kids left and right. If people want to, order them, put them in their name, do the Boulder Options. So, we'll put some things together to help you with that as well. And then, of course,
I want to talk. We need to kind of work through that, but I'd love to do more of that as well. We need to figure that out at the next package.
We will definitely do that. But, okay, so any fundraisers coming up that we can let people know about?
Well, I think you know about the big one we have coming up here September 19th, the golf tournament, and it's at the Purple Hawk in Cambridge, Minnesota. So we actually are close to being sold out. We have 28 foursomes. There's only 4 left. So if people want to get in, we'd love to have them. It's a nice course. You get breakfast and lunch included for a $400 foursome for 4 people. So it's a bargain. It's breakfast. It's lunch and the early dinner and food and golf and raffles and all kinds of good stuff.
And silent auction. Okay, so where can we send people to go to sign up for those 4 foursomes that are left?
BoulderOptions.org. Go right to our website online, BoulderOptions.org, and you can find us.
And everybody, that's Boulder with an O, not a U after the O.
No.
It's BOLDER, because they're Boulder out there in the community. But Darrell Thompson, look at you. So we talked about your favorite food. I didn't ask you this. Who's your favorite football team?
Probably go with the Green Bay Packers. You asked.
I did. You know what? You got to do what you got to do, even though you're born.
But the Vikings are a close second. I care about the Vikings. I like the.
Well, you could have gone college, and I wouldn't have minded. That was Darrell. Did I let you sign my Vikings jacket or no? When I first met you.
I don't think I signed it. I don't think I signed that. No.
Yeah, because I went, oh, who did you play for? That's right. I don't think I'll look at it. If I was going to let anybody, it would be you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate so very much the time that you took tonight, because it is past your bedtime, because 50. But we will be in contact again very soon, my dear friend. And I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Mark, any parting words?
No, I just want to really just, let Darrell know that I've been following your work for some time, and I'm proud of the work that you're doing, and keep building. We need more people like you, and I accept the challenge of helping you get some more mentors. I'm sorry, for your mentees.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You
Thank both of you very much.
Yes.
I want to know wherever you guys post this on social media so we can share it. And please tag Boulder Options and myself so that we know and we can kind of retweet it and reshare it on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
But we can't do it on
Those are things.
Snapchat, right? I'm trying to learn the Snapchat thing. That's
It's on Snapchat.
okay.
But you can do Instagram and Twitter and
That we can do.
and Facebook with this. Yeah,
That we
definitely
can do.
that.
And Darrell, I mean, we've got quite a large reach here with Armed Radio Network. Jim Bell, Joe Savino, our sponsors. I mean, we get out there. 66 countries. It's on iHeart.
Right on iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio, and then there's the other one. I can't remember the other. It's with an S. Come on, Mark, help me. Spotify.
no idea.
We're on Spotify. Wow. My kids are-
Spotify. I think you said it starts with an F.
Yeah, she did say that. That's,
I said S.
There's an F in Spotify. Though.
The Spotify. Sorry, guys. Well, anyway. Spotify with an S, like Sam, not an F like F word. But Darrell Thompson, thank you so very much. I appreciate having you on the F word tonight. Mark Wingo, get to bed. It's late in Atlanta. And I will talk to you all next week on the F word. Have a good night, everybody.